What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Come for the finance and stay for the long-term wealth building tips that will change your life. And today we're talking about how to save 50% of your income. That's right, half of everything you make. So if you make $100 this month, you're going to save 50 of that $100. That means you have $50 left over every single month to invest in yourself, to invest in the stock market, pay off debt, buy a house, all that good stuff. And I'm going to show you a few ways that you can do this. This is the first video in my new series called From Paycheck to Millionaire. Because there are so many people who feel like they're working tirelessly from paycheck to paycheck, it's never really seeing any real wealth gain or success in their own lives, but they see it around them. They see other people being successful, they see other people buying houses and cars and all these things that they want too. But what they don't know is how to go from paycheck to millionaire, and guess what? I was in the exact same position. I remember when I worked at McDonald's for $7.25 an hour, and it felt like I was making more money than I was because I was spending all of it. Then I started to realize that the way I had been taught about money wasn't working for me, and so I decided to take a different approach. I started learning from books and podcasts and YouTube videos, and that's exactly what I want to do for you guys with this new series. I want to teach you how to become financially free, how to build generational wealth. And today we're starting with how to save 50% of your income. All right, so step one is to track your spending. And I cannot stress this enough. If you don't track your spending, you have no idea where your money is going. You have no idea what you spend your money on. And that is not a good place to be because you have to understand where your money is going in order to save more of it. So right now, I'm looking at my bank statements and credit card bills for the last 3 months, and I'm categorizing all of my expenses. So for example, I know that I spent $300 on gas this month, so I would categorize that as transportation. I know that I spent $500 on food this month, so I would categorize that as food. Then I do the same thing for all of my expenses. What this allows me to do is look at my spending and see exactly where my money is going, and then decide whether or not I should keep spending that money on those things. Maybe I could negotiate my cell phone bill down, or maybe I could find a cheaper insurance rate, or maybe I could just cut out eating out altogether. By tracking your spending, you allow yourself to see exactly where your money is going, and then decide whether or not you want to continue spending it that way. Step two is to create a budget. Now I'd like to use the word budget, because it feels like a 4-letter word to a lot of people. But it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, I think budgets are fun because it does like a game to me, where I get to see exactly how much money I have coming in and how much money I have going out, and then figure out how I can best allocate my money. And the way I do this is by using a spreadsheet. On one side of the spreadsheet, I put all of my income sources, and then I list out all of my expenses. And then once I have everything listed out, I add up all of my expenses and then subtract it from my income. And that tells me exactly how much money I have left over to save or invest. Or if my expenses are higher than my income, then I know I need to cut back in some areas in order to reach my financial goals. No. 3 is to prioritize your savings. Now, if you watch my video on how to make $1,000 a day, you know that I talk about paying yourself first. And that's exactly what I mean by prioritizing your savings. So let's say you get paid on the first of the month. The first thing you should do is transfer a portion of your paycheck into a separate savings account. And that way you make sure that you re-saving money before you do anything else with your paycheck. And then at the end of the month, when you go to transfer the rest of your paycheck into your checking account, you woe and be tempted to spend it. Because you already know that a portion of it is safe and secure in your savings account. Number 4 is to automate your savings. Now you can't manually save 50% of your income every single month. You just can't. You have to automate it. You have to set up systems and processes that allow you to save without even thinking about it. So, like I said before, the first thing you want to do when you get paid is transfer a portion of your paycheck into your savings account. And you want to do this automatically so that you don't have to think about it. Just set up the automatic transfer, and then it happens every single paycheck. Another way to automate your savings is by setting up an automatic investment plan for your retirement. Accounts like your 401k or your IRA. So with these plans, a portion of your paycheck is automatically invested into these accounts, and then you do and have to worry about it until you retire. And finally, You can also automate your savings by using apps like Acorns or Capital. So these apps round up your purchases and then invest the spare change. For example, if you spend $5.45, Acorn will round up to $6 and then invest the 55 cents. No, 5 is to have an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a safety net of sorts. It's a portion of your savings that you set aside for unexpected expenses, like car repairs or medical bills. Having an emergency fund allows you to save without having to worry about dipping into your investments or taking on debt. And it also helps you avoid lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is the tendency to increase your spending when your income increases. For example, if you get a raise at work, instead of using that extra money to save or invest, you might use it to upgrade your wardrobe or buy a nicer car. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it's important to have an emergency fund first, so that you won't have to dip into your investments or take on debt when unexpected expenses arise. No, 6 is to have a plan. Now, I know I've talked about budgeting and saving and all that stuff, but it's important to remember that all of those things are only means to an end. The real goal is to have a plan for where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But without a plan, you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks, and that's not the best way to use your money. When you have a plan, it gives you direction, tells you where you want to be and how you're going to get there. So take some time to sit down and write out your financial goals. Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What do you want to be able to buy? How much money do you want to have saved? Once you have a clear understanding of where you want to be, then you can start figuring out how to get there. And that's where the budgeting and saving comes in. So there you have it, 6 steps to help you save 50% of your income. If you follow these steps, you'll be on your way to financial freedom in no time. I promise you that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. It really helps me out. I will see you guys in the next video.